have to take it very seriously and put the kids' safety first.
Threats across our area made to schools, forcing district leaders and law enforcement to take action.
Every day it's healing, but it's not healing here yet.
That mother's son violently beaten on a JCPS bus, and it's all caught on camera. And now she's wondering if her children are safe. And the manhunt for the suspected shooter from southern Kentucky continues for another day. The impact this is having on nearby schools. It's all coming up right now on Wave News Sunrise.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Good morning to you on this Thursday. I'm Shannon Kogan with meteorologist Tawana Andrew. And you said you felt like an adult when you're 30.
Yeah. I think that's when it really just hit me. I mean, I feel like I've been adulting since 18, but 30 is when it hit me.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll be adulting a lot this morning.
Okay. Well, we're going to get a check of the weather in just a moment. But first, we want to go to Olivia Russell because there's a big incident we're watching right now.
Yeah, traffic alert for you here. This is on 71 South at I-264, right where the two interstates meet. And we're seeing multiple vehicles, at least 1, 2, with some pretty serious damage. Right now, you can see emergency officials working on this scene, trying to keep an eye on if traffic is moving around the side. Not sure. Yeah, that looks like a car that's able to go along the shoulder there, and looks like they'll be out there for a while. This just popped up on our traffic map, so we'll continue to keep an eye on this. Again, it's 71 southbound at I-264. Looks like it's starting to affect traffic just a little bit in this area, but we know this is a really busy area that usually gets pretty congested in the mornings too. So I'm sure over the next hour or so, we'll continue to see some more backups and traffic to be affected even more. At least for now, they're able to get around on the shoulder, but we're going to make a call into MetroSafe, figure out what we can learn about any injuries or how long they'll be out there, and we'll keep you updated throughout Sunrise. Tawana, how's our forecast looking, though?
Thankfully for them, as they're going to be working to clean up that scene, everything is quiet in our area. We're still focused in on Tropical Storm Francine because of the impact it's having across the southeast, but eventually we are going to see the rain from that later on tonight. Just some upper-level clouds drifting in overhead across our region as temperatures are sitting in the 50s and low 60s in most spots. As we head over the next 12 hours, we will watch those temperatures jumping into the 80s for your highs. More clouds just continuing to roll in as the day goes along, and then we'll head into tonight, early tomorrow morning. This is when we're going to see more of those showers and thunderstorms moving in. Keep in mind, this is a tropical system, so this rain can be quite heavy at times. Going to keep those rain chances on and off throughout the day on your Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. But good news, none of those days look to be complete washouts. Just want to make sure that you're staying weather aware as we head into the weekend.
Thanks, Tawana. And a rash of school threats surrounding schools in our area have many communities on high alert. And the latest into our newsroom overnight, a social media threat against Greater Clark County schools and Grayson County schools. Law enforcement in both counties now working with the school districts to investigate those. Plus, Adair County schools closed again today, second day in the row, as they're investigating what they call a credible threat that was made Wednesday. Now, this all comes after last week's mass school shooting in Georgia, where 2 students and 2 teachers were killed and 9 others injured. Marissa Burke in the studio this morning to talk about more about these threats. And when did Adair County officials find out about this?
The superintendent says it was around 6:30 where they got the information, and then it was like 10 minutes till 7 where the parents are trying to scramble. He says in his 21 years, he's never heard of bus drivers reversing course. He made the quick action to send the buses back and cancel school Wednesday morning, and then late last night, the district posted to their social media pages saying classes were canceled again today. The superintendent called the serious threats made like the one this week unnerving. The district was informed about a threatening social media post on Snapchat. Adair Superintendent Jason Faulkner says they are investigating this threat thoroughly with the help of local and federal agencies.
We're kind of a heightened era right now. I feel like that we have to take it very seriously and put the kids' safety first. And so bringing them to school on a threat, especially a threat that includes a weapon, felt like that would have been an unnecessary risk to bring them in.
Faulkner Governor encourages parents and students, if they see anything online that could seem threatening in nature, to report it. Now, Adair County isn't alone. We built this map to show you at home just how many of these threats we've had since last week. We've kept you up to date all week on the threats in Marion, Grayson, Bullitt, and Hardin counties, as well as JCPS, not to mention Clark County in southern Indiana as well. Looking at wider in Kentucky, threats were made in Boyle County, Anderson County, and in Kenton County outside of Cincinnati, and that's where a 5th grader has been charged. Now, whether or not these threats are real, police say that students' mental health is the concern right now as well.
All right. Thank you, Marissa. And JCPS did confirm to us that a student brought a gun to a Louisville high school Wednesday. Louisville Mill High School's principal says that gun was found in the student's backpack through the weapon detection system yesterday morning. A message was sent to families letting them know about the incident. The principal says the student was arrested and will be charged.
When I seen the video on Facebook, I didn't exactly know how anyone else would feel, but I knew how I felt. It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch.
That mother, so upset after her 12-year-old son was beaten, left with 2 black eyes after being attacked on a JCPS school bus. And the bus driver now taken off the road. We're told that the fight broke out between 2 Cameron Middle School students Friday afternoon. People are rallying around the student's family, who is now considering taking legal action against the school district. So it started as a normal day at school, but turned into a nightmare on the bus for 7th grader Kiani Davis last Friday. This video, which is being shared on social media and found by Kiani's mother, Whitney Davis, shows another student repeatedly punching her son in the head. It goes on for over a minute. It was a fight at school, apparently, that escalated into this attack on the school bus. Other students are heard cheering it on. She says the bus driver never intervened, and her 12-year-old son was left with 2 black eyes. They've been getting support from the community, but Whitney Davis is evaluating whether to keep her son and 3 other children in JCPS.
Everybody's love and support for us is just amazing. It's overwhelming at times, but it feels great to have a community that'll stand by you.
The school has our children almost as much time as we do, if not more, with some parents, because a lot of their awake time is spent away from us between work and school. They're supposed to be safe.
After learning what happened to Kiani, 2 youth-based organizations, Hip Hop and 2 Learning, and the Real Young Prodigies threw him a party to celebrate his 13th birthday, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. JCPS says the students involved in the fight are being disciplined in accordance to their policy, and we asked JCPS about what they do when it comes to fights on the bus, and we were given this statement that reads in part, if a fight begins on a bus, drivers are required to protect their voices and tell them to stop. Drivers must make an effort to get the fight to stop and cannot ignore the situation. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear will meet with law enforcement as the search for Joseph Couch continues. This as investigators are still trying to figure out what led to the shootings that occurred off Interstate 75. No new details were released in the search Wednesday. Kentucky State Police canceled a press conference. They are expected to give one today. Police say Couch shot 5 people on I-75 in Laurel County Saturday evening, hitting 12 cars in all, though. The reward for his arrest is at $35,000. KSP says if you see Couch, do not engage with him. Call local law enforcement. He's considered armed and dangerous. Some eastern Kentucky school districts, though, are trying to figure out how to keep students safe as this manhunt continues. Rockcastle County Schools had students come back, but they're under lockdown measures during the school day. That means students and staff are inside all day. The only way to leave is to be escorted out. Parents say they're confident in the safety measures.
I told my son, like, we can't live like we're hostages. If there's kids in our community that are safer in the school than they are in their homes at times, there's kids that don't have food. I know there's going to be a lot of people that choose to keep their kids home, and I support that decision too.
Laurel County schools are canceling their football games, though. While this manhunt continues in these woods, the district says they're working on plans to potentially move to virtual instruction until they determine it's safe to return to in-person learning. New body camera video shows what led to a bartender being shot by a DJ who was associated with rapper Jack Harlow. The video shows the aftermath of what happened after Kazmira Nash was shot at Vibes Restaurant and Ultra Lounge on the eve of the Kentucky Derby in 2021. You see officers bringing Nash outside the club, performing CPR, and there's a crowd of people that surrounds Nash and the officers as they ask questions about what's going on. Listen.
She had blood coming out of her side. That's why we got her out. That's why we got her out. Hey, is that a gunshot wound? That is a gunshot wound.
Ronnie O'Bannon took a plea deal on reckless homicide charges for the shooting last December. O'Bannon's lawyer argued he shot Nash in self-defense after she hit him with a champagne bottle. O'Bannon served no jail time after a judge found his 2.5 years on home incarceration was a sufficient sentence. Here's Tawana right now taking a look at the next 12 hours.
As we head over the next 12, what we're going to be seeing those temperatures climbing into the 80s for highs as clouds increase. Now, in terms of your rain, that doesn't really arrive until later on tonight. I'll break down the chances after the break.
And coming up, what was Hurricane Francine has been downgraded to a tropical storm after it made landfall, but threats of its impact remain. We'll have an update coming up on Sunrise.
Now, Wave News.
And breaking right now, SpaceX making history with the first commercial spacewalk. Olivia keeping an eye on this live feed right now.
Yeah, Shannon, this is really fascinating to watch. I want to take you straight to their live stream on X, formerly known as Twitter, where it says the first spacewalk from Dragon has officially begun. All 4 crew members are exposed to the vacuum of space, but technically only Jared Isaacman, and he's a billionaire tech CEO, and SpaceX engineer Sarah Gillis are actually exiting the SpaceX capsule. But the entire spacewalk is expected to last a full 2 hours, with Isaacman and Gillis actually venturing outside of the spacecraft for about 20 minutes. And this is such a choreographed event here. They actually had to prepare almost immediately after reaching orbit by pre-breathing to avoid decompression sickness. So if you're familiar with scuba diving, that's the same dangerous illness that scuba divers might face if they try to surface too quickly. But astronauts also had to purge the nitrogen from their blood, so when the Dragon capsule is depressurized and exposed to the vacuum of space, the gas doesn't form bubbles in their bloodstream. But really fascinating to check out this live stream. They're walking you through it, describing everything that's going on, so hopefully you'll be able to understand it a little better. Again, that's happening on SpaceX's X right now. Really cool to check that out. Shannon?
You sounded like a doctor, Olivia.
I tried. I know nothing about space, but hey, they explained it so well.
I don't know what you were talking about. Okay, thank you. I guess they had to, like, what, hold their breath or something? I don't know. That was technical.
It was, but I feel like anyone who has scuba dived or at least trained for it would pretty much understand what's going on.
I have not. So.
And I have not either. Those of you heading out today, the thing I understand, weather. And we're continuing to keep an eye on Tropical Storm Francine impacting portions of Arkansas through Mississippi all the way into portions of the Florida Panhandle. Even seeing, I mentioned, if you were watching earlier, I mentioned the potential for some tornadoes with that band moving onshore the Florida Panhandle. That's exactly what we're seeing right now with the tornado warning there. We are continuing to keep an eye on clouds increasing across our area right now. Not seeing much just yet on our SkyTrack camera in New Albany, but it's still an hour before the sun comes up, so that is to be expected. Your temperatures are sitting in the 50s and low 60s across our region as of right now, including in the metro, where temperatures range from 60 degrees in New Albany to 63 for those of you in Fern Creek, 55 in Sellersburg and in Jeffersonville. Our futurecast shows that we'll keep these clouds overhead increasing as the day goes along with highs today in the 80s. Once we get into later on tonight, especially as we approach midnight, this is when our rain chances start to go up as that first band of showers and thunderstorms marches into our region. So let's talk about what we're going to see once we head into Friday. We'll see the first band of rain pushing in from the south, moving northward for the early morning hours. Notice the yellow and orange on your screen indicating pockets of heavier rainfall. After that moves out by the afternoon, we get a little bit of dry time, allowing our temperatures to try to climb to near 80 degrees for highs. If you get a little bit of sunshine through those clouds, then you'll be a touch warmer. Getting further into the evening hours, some additional scattered showers and thunderstorms certainly possible across the region for your Friday evening. Now, in between the batches of rainfall, we could be dealing with some gusty winds near 20 to 30 miles per hour. So that's something else that we'll have to keep an eye on for your Friday. Getting into Saturday, as what's left of Francine continues to basically fade off the map, additional rounds of these scattered showers and thunderstorms possible. We'll get some breaks at times on Saturday. Then heading into Sunday, starting to gradually dry out with a better chance for rain, mainly Sunday morning, not so much as we get into Sunday night. Eventually, all of that rain wraps up once we roll into the late Sunday into Monday time frame. And by that point, we could see 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. Notice the yellows on your screen indicating that potential for 2 to 3 inches of rain, especially for those of you southwest of Louisville. So we're talking about that E-Town area further to the southwest. You have a better chance to see some of those higher rainfall totals. The further east and north you are, the less of the rain that we're expecting in your area. Now, there is another low trying to make it onshore in the Carolinas once we get towards the middle of next week. So that means this end of this 10-day can change depending on how far westward that low can push. So a lot to watch in regards to the tropics over the next 10 days.
And we're keeping an eye on this traffic alert this morning. A crash on I-71 southbound right as the Waterson ends. So you're seeing traffic able to move around the right lane and the right shoulder, but at least 2 vehicles involved. We're told there are injuries with this, so it could take some time as crews are out there working on assessing that damage, making sure everyone is okay and getting this cleaned up. But it is 6:19 right now. We know this is a really busy area, so we can expect some major delays on 71 southbound and also the Waterson headed westbound, because this is right there where those 2 interstates merge. So we're going to keep an eye on this morning. Shannon.
Olivia, thank you. Hundreds of local organizations are hoping that you feel generous today. It's the 11th annual Give for Good Louisville, the largest day of online giving in our area. And Josh Ninke's at Slugger Field this morning talking about some of the organizations that you can help out.
Shannon, I've had such a great time highlighting some of these great folks that you can make a donation to, and right now, and it means so much. We've got Taylor with Change Today, Change Tomorrow joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning, and you've got quite the beautiful spread. Tell us a bit about your organization and what you've got here.
Absolutely. I'm Taylor Ryan, she, her. I'm the executive director and founder of Change Today, Change Tomorrow. We are devoted to eradicating the food justice and public health barriers that plague the Black community. We focus on food justice, in particular in the West End, and so what I have for you is a share of our Fresh RX bag. Our Fresh RX is a program for expecting mothers where we bring locally sourced, locally grown produce right to expecting mothers.
Listen, that is some beautiful produce you've got right here.
Thank you.
Of course.
All picked from our local ground.
I love that. So obviously folks have a lot of choices with different organizations to help out today. What would a donation mean for y'all?
Change Today, Change Tomorrow is your best choice, honey. We do an array of programming from all different types of food justice aspects. We have a free grocery program where we are gleaning from Trader Joe's, bringing it over from the east side over to the West End, sorting, assessing, and distributing. We have the only farmers market in the West End, and so our theme this year for Give for Good is Sprout for Change.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
You guys have participated in Give for Good in the past, right?
This is our 5th year.
5th year, congratulations.
Yes.
How have things gone in the past?
We are going to hit our goal this year.
Okay, great, great.
Yes.
What is that goal?
Our goal is $50,000.
Nice.
We are at $20,000 so far.
Oh, it's a great start for the beginning of the day.
Yes, so we have to close out with $30,000. So we need about 1,000 people to give $30.
Okay.
Or 400 people to give $75.
Nice, yeah, not bad. What would it mean for you personally, for folks who give today?
It means staying open.
Yeah.
So there's been years, because I'm the executive director and founder, where I've gone, 15 paychecks in order to, ensure that our staff is and our building is open. And so that just, keeps our doors open, keeps us serving people. We serve about 300 people a week.
Yeah.
That's just with our grocery program. And so outside of that, we also have Bless the Block coming up, where we serve about 600 youth. It is a winter holiday giving program, so it means sustainability for our organization.
So some very important work being done. Once you pick up your phone right now, scan the QR code that's on your screen. We'll also have this running as a ticker at the bottom of the show throughout the entire day, so you can go ahead and give. This runs all the way through 11:59 p.m. tonight, but go ahead and get your day started. Do it right now so you can get it out of the way and help out some of these amazing groups. Also head to wave3.com. Got more information for you. Live here at Slugger Field, Josh Sneaky, Wave News. More Sunrise for you next.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots. The Kentucky Lottery, over $5 billion in grants and scholarships.
Francine has now weakened to a tropical storm, but it made landfall as a Category 2 hurricane, and it brought strong wind gusts of 105 miles per hour, a lot of rain, threatening storm surge to Louisiana, but impacts are being felt in Mississippi. This video shows powerful waves crashing in Biloxi as the strong winds picked up. This was taken around midnight near the lighthouse there, showing more of the waves and the wind. A lot of the roads clear except for some flying debris, so a lot of people are being told stay inside, and power crews are hard at work. There are a lot of downed lines, and a loss of power is something officials have already been anticipating. They're in fact saying about 200,000 people lost power as a result of Francine. And here's Tawana right now taking a look at its current track.
Yeah, we're watching it continuing to move off towards the northeast, moving pretty quickly at 12 miles per hour. Now, while parts of Mississippi being inundated with rain, keeping an eye on that tornado threat along the Florida Panhandle, especially in areas just to the west of Panama City, with these bands coming directly off of the Gulf of Mexico. So a lot to watch across the southeast in terms of this system, but as it falls apart, it will move gradually towards the north, and that will bring rain into our region starting tonight. So let's look at the next 10 days. We are going to be talking about this rain pushing into our region tonight. Rounds of rain for portions, but not all of your Friday, keeping some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday as well. Neither of these days looking like a washout. You will want your rain gear, though. Getting into Monday, a few isolated showers possible earlier in the day. Most of Monday right now trending on the drier side. Highs in the 80s for most of the next 10 days, by the way. And once we get further into next week, another low, but this time off towards our east, could help to bring some rain back into our region.
Thanks, Tawana. Coming up on Sunrise, school districts getting threats. At least 5 school districts in our area have received threats this week. More on the consequences students could face. It's coming up on Wave News Sunrise.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Hi there, I'm Shannon Kogan with Tawana, who will get to your forecast in a minute, but we're watching this right now. So let's head over to Olivia to explain.
Yeah, Shannon, we're keeping an eye on this crash on I-71 south at I-264, where you can see quite a mess there. Multiple vehicles involved. We're told there are injuries in this crash and creating quite a backup already, because this is right where 71 south meets I-264. Already a really tight merge there. They only have the right lane and the right shoulder open, so traffic is at least able to get through. But again, it's at a very slow pace, and this has been the scene for about an hour now. This call came in just after 5:30. So right now, not creating a massive backup, but it's 6:30, and we know that morning commute is only going to add to this, and it's already a pretty congested area for our morning commute. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this. If you can find another way around it, I know it's kind of a key area here, but if you can try to get off, take a side road, that's probably going to be your best bet, because we know this will pick up. No other issues around the metro right now this morning, but we'll keep an eye on it. Shannon or Tawana.
Yeah, thankfully, as they're cleaning up that scene, the weather is not going to be something that's drastically impacting them. So that's certainly some good news with quiet conditions across our region right now. We do have some of these upper level clouds drifting in. So this morning sunrise, as we head over the next half an hour, you're going to start to see some pretty interesting colors in the sky as the sunlight reflects off of those mid to upper level clouds. Your temperature is sitting in the upper 50s and low 60s right now. So comfortable, especially with the humidity staying on the lower side for now. As we continue throughout the day, our temperatures and the humidity will go all the way up, watching those temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 80s in some cases for this afternoon. The daytime hours, though, staying dry. As we get into the overnight early tomorrow, we'll see that first band from Francine moving into our region. That rain can be heavy at times. I'll talk about potential totals in just a bit.
Thank you, Tawana. At least 5 school districts in our viewing area have received threats this week, and Adair County schools are closed for a second day today while police are still investigating. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke is telling us about the consequences that students can face with this.
Shannon, whether or not the threats are real or a joke, police officials say the impacts on the community are real, which is why agencies say students will be punished. Earlier this week, police in Elizabethtown received a call about a threat made against TK Stone Middle School. The threat was later to be found non-credible, but it caused a great deal of alarm and it interrupted school operations. Police have identified the person behind that threat and they've been arrested for terroristic threatening. In situations like this, police dedicate a lot of resources. Officials say threats like this will not be tolerated and those found responsible will face consequences.
Every threat that is made against our school children will be taken seriously, and the suspect will be punished to the fullest extent of the law. You make a threat to harm our students, you will be arrested.
We did ask Elizabethtown Public Information Officer Chris Denham his thoughts behind why a student may make a threat against a school, and he believes it could be for attention. His advice for parents is to monitor students' activity. In wake of the most recent mass shooting at a Georgia school where 2 students and 2 teachers were killed, these threats are concerning. Reports show that there have been over 40 mass shootings at schools and a total of 216 school shooting incidents so far this year. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Thank you, Marissa. We're learning more about some of the 911 calls and the police response after 5 people were shot while driving on I-75 in Laurel County. State police are still searching for the man they say was the shooter, Joseph Couch. Investigators say he used an AR-15 to shoot at cars on the interstate, hitting 12 cars total, injuring 5 people. And then they say he ran off into nearby woods. He still has not been found after 5 days of searching. Laurel County 911 director says they had 4 dispatchers on duty at the time, and additional staff then came rushing in to help manage the influx of calls for help.
A lot of calls coming in, reporting shots, just not a lot of information. People couldn't really let us know where the shooting was coming from, if it was coming from a certain person. Just very, very chaotic.
Kentucky State Police say they think Couch is still in these woods. They're offering a $35,000 reward for information that leads to his arrest. Indiana University is investigating after a former men's basketball player says he was touched inappropriately by an athletic doctor. The university has now hired a law firm to investigate Dr. Brad Bomba Sr. Bomba was contracted by IU athletic doctor for decades. His work with the team ended in the late 1990s. A former basketball player claims Bomba gave him unnecessary prostate and rectal exams during his annual physicals. The university is now asking other student athletes who had contact with Bomba to come forward. Parents at Highland Middle School say they're frustrated. They say they've been caught off guard again. Many parents with students in Spanish at Highland Middle enrolled them when it was the only middle school with a continuation of an immersion program in the district. In 2022, the district cut the program down to 1 course, but now no Spanish courses at all.
I immediately got calls from my daughter and her friends, distraught. What are we going to do, Mom? This is our program. This is what we're supposed to be working on. They have plans. They've worked hard for 5+ years. They have a trajectory for high school, for college. This disrupts that entire process, and it was done like that. That's inexcusable.
JCPS says they offer Spanish courses at 3 other middle schools. For students at Highland Middle, they don't know what's next for their Spanish education pathway, though. Here's Tawana taking a look at the next 12 hours.
And get ready for more clouds rolling in as the day goes along. So yes, you'll still get to use your sunglasses, but not as much as we get into the afternoon and evening. Highs today in the 80s. Now looking ahead to tonight, that is when some much needed rain will push into our region. I'll break down the timing and the totals after the break.
Well, today you can help organizations all across Wave Country. Give for Good Louisville broke a record for online giving a year ago, and they want you to help beat that number this year. Josh Ninke is live at Slugger Field introducing us to some of these groups who hope that you will donate. Josh.
Now we're making it nice and easy too. There should be some QR code at the bottom of your screen to go ahead and scan and get the donations going bright and early this morning. I've got Maggie and Mel with Anchal joining us today. You guys have some beautiful stuff in front of us. Can you tell me a bit more about what you could do?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit social enterprise, and we work with artisans in India. We provide training to women coming from marginalized and exploited backgrounds. So they make all the product you see here.
Nice.
The jackets Mel and I are wearing, bags, accessories, and we've been an organization for about 14 years now.
Nice. And with working with those people, you have a huge impact. Mel, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so we've helped to support over 400 women in India and given opportunity to these women through jobs and economic growth. They've been able to do something as simple as buy groceries, healthy groceries for their families, and anywhere from buying homes, supporting their kids, and it's just been so rewarding to see that lasting impact.
I can imagine, yeah. So for folks who are looking for organizations to donate to, what would their money mean for you guys today?
So today we're raising funds to start and launch our own first baby line. So we've been, like I said, in business for 14 years, but we're looking to expand, and we have some really cute bucket hats coming
I
out.
love that.
And so this new production unit that today's donations will support will help broaden our impact and expand our artisan membership.
That's cool. And so this is a great project for you to go ahead and help. And we should have a QR screen on your screen, right, or QR code on your screen right now. Just scan that. That'll take you right to the page to donate. You can select one of the hundreds of organizations, including Anchal today, that you can send that money to. It would mean a whole lot. We'll be doing this throughout the entire day. It goes until 11:59 p.m. But I want you to go ahead and start your day with some charitable giving. Really makes the whole day that much better. And like I said, we'll be here throughout the entire day showing even more great organizations that you can help. Live here at Slugger Field, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thanks, Josh. Okay, no surprise. Taylor Swift, the big winner at last night's MTV Video Music Awards. Olivia is here to tell us more about the big night.
Yeah, making headlines. T Swift took home 7 awards, including the night's biggest, the trophy for the Video of the Year. She, of course, thanked her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, but Swift's awards bring her to a career total of 30. Ties Beyonce for the title of Most Awarded Musician in VMA history. Eminem is now the male artist with the most VMAs at 14. But it was all about the women last night, starting with Megan Thee Stallion, who was the host. Chappell Roan, she headlined Louisville's Pride Fest this summer, won the award for Best New Artist. Some of us aren't surprised because we saw people standing on the walking bridge just trying to see that concert here in Louisville. Sabrina Carpenter won the trophy for the Song of the Year with Espresso. That's that me, Espresso. She beat out Jack Harlow for Lovin' on Me. That was his only nomination, though. But, you know, still a fun night. Always fun to see all of our big winners out there, too. And now you're going to have that song, Espresso, stuck.
Oh, I love that song.
I didn't even realize that it was her until maybe like a month after I'd heard it for the first time. I was like, oh, so this is what everyone's obsessed with.
But she puts out bangers. I don't know if you've listened to her new music.
It's pretty good.
Awesome.
It is pretty good. So everyone's going to be, I guess, chugging some extra espresso while listening to Espresso. So
I do that anyway.
Possibly. But too bad for Jack.
Yeah, don't worry. He'll win something else. Yeah. We're not really worried about him. For those of you listening to either artist this morning, we are watching some rain moving our way. Let you know when it's going to arrive in just 30 seconds. Happy Thursday. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your forecast. And what we're looking at right now, well to our south, this is Tropical Storm Francine, bringing heavy rain to portions of Mississippi. That rain stretches all the way towards Atlanta, by the way, for those of you maybe having a flight that connects there later on today. Just keep that in mind. And also keeping an eye on that tornado threat for portions of the Florida Panhandle. But here at home, everything is quiet. We just have some of these mid to upper level clouds trying to stream in. And you can kind of see them there showing up on our SkyTrack camera in Corden this morning. Your temperature is sitting in the 50s and low 60s across most of our regions. So temperature-wise, we're looking pretty good. Humidity still relatively low this morning, but that is going to change as the day goes along. So we'll see more of these mid to upper level clouds moving in for the afternoon into this evening. Still talking about highs, though, in those mid to upper 80s. Now, once we get into tonight, especially approaching midnight, this is when our rain chances will really start to go up across wave country as that first outer band from Francine moves into our region. So we'll see these bands of rain pushing from south to north for your Friday morning, and they can have pockets of very heavy rain embedded in them. Keep in mind, this is a tropical system, so that heavy rain is going to be a potential threat for your Friday morning commute. By the afternoon, trending drier with those temperatures trying to get into those upper 70s and low 80s. Now, we could see some peaks of sunshine, and in those spots that we see some peaks of afternoon sun on Friday, that could lead to some slightly warmer temperatures. So watching a lot for tomorrow. Also keeping an eye on a few more of those scattered showers and thunderstorms trying to show up once we head into your Friday evening. That is something that all the models are showing, but it's something that I'm watching, especially for those of you further to the south and west of Louisville. The other thing we're going to keep an eye on for Friday will be the potential for some gusty winds in between the rounds of rain. So as we dry out Friday afternoon, this is when we can see some of those wind gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. Heading into your Saturday, some additional rounds of showers possible as that leftover low from Francine continues to throw some of these showers and thunderstorms into and through our region. Getting into Sunday, though, a lot of that rain looks to stay off towards our west and southwest, allowing us to end the weekend on a drier note. And then by the time you get into Monday of next week, this is when we could see another system trying to move onshore of the Carolinas, and that could bring our next rain chance for later on next week. But before we even talk about that system, we'll talk about how much rain we see. We desperately need this rain. We're very dry across wave country right now, so the rain is welcome. We just don't want too much because that causes flooding concerns, especially with the ground this dry. For those of you west and south of Louisville, this is where we have a better chance to see around 2 to 3 inches of rain, while other areas further to the east and north will see closer to an inch of rain. So where you are in wave country will dictate how much rain you see as we head through the next few days. As I mentioned, as we get towards the middle and end of next week, watching extra clouds and those rain chances closely with that next system moving towards us, but overall over the next 10 days, most of us seeing 80s for highs.
Thank you, Tawana. A Valley Station homeowner was kicked out of his own house by a court order filed by an unwanted tenant who'd been living in the garage. Troubleshooter Mark Stevens found out the law was not on the homeowner's side.
Daniel Toma allowed some friends to stay in his garage while they fixed up their car after a weekend gathering, but those friends ended up staying for months. Toma says they didn't pay rent, didn't have a lease, and weren't welcome once the car was fixed. But he got kicked out of his own house after the garage tenants got in a fight with another roommate. They went to court for a protective order against Toma.
Oh, I asked them to go. My roommates asked them to go. They wouldn't leave. We tried to tell him to leave. They said he started saying we have squatters' rights.
An evictions expert says the case was not clear-cut, and a judge also told me property owners get kicked out of their homes all the time. Coming up tonight at 6, I'll show you how an act of kindness turned into a legal battle for control. Mark Stevens, Wave News.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, here's Olivia taking a look at the big stories we're following from around the country and the world.
President Joe Biden is marking the 30th anniversary of the Violence Against Women Act at the White House today. Biden helped write the Violence Against Women Act as a U.S. Senator. It extended historic protections and support to survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault for the first time. The president has long called it his proudest legislative accomplishment. In addition, the Biden administration is rolling out new measures today to combat gender-based violence. This includes $690 million in grant funding to support survivors. And a massive strike at Boeing is looming as 30,000 Boeing workers in Washington state prepare to vote on a tentative union deal today. On Sunday, the machinists union and the company reached a tentative agreement on a 4-year contract to avoid a walkout. Union leadership recommends the machinists approve the contract, but union members are apparently not happy with the terms. Boeing did not agree to their request for a 40% pay increase, and Boeing's refusal to restore a pension plan that was eliminated in 2014 COVID-19 is a major sticking point for them. Union members have launched a series of protests this week outside of Boeing plants. If they reject the deal, they could vote to go on strike early Friday. Those are some of your top headlines. Shannon will have more local news coming up in your Wake Up Watch list.
Good morning, 6:53, and hundreds of local organizations are hoping that you feel generous today. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke has more to start our Wake Up Watch list now.
And today's Give for Good Louisville. You can help almost 600 organizations throughout the entire day, raising some fantastic money. Last year, they set a record $9.9 million for local organizations, and you can be part of working that out today. We make it very easy for you to donate. You pick a cause, guarantee you one of these folks will help you out. You can scan the QR code that's going to be at the bottom of our screen throughout the entire day. It'll take you straight to the page where you can donate any amount of money that you want, and there will be plenty of fun ways to make it make your dollar stretch a little bit further. But go ahead, start your day off with a little bit of giving right here. Head to wave3.com as well for a little bit more information. Live here at Slugger Field, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Josh, thanks. School threats surrounding schools in our area have communities on high alert. The most recent social media threats against Greater Clark County schools and Grayson County schools. Law enforcement in both counties working with the districts to investigate. Also, Adair County schools closed again today, second day in the row, as they continue to investigate a credible threat, they call it, that was made on Wednesday. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear will meet with law enforcement as the search for Joseph Couch continues, as investigators are still trying to determine what led to the shootings that happened off I-75. 12 cars were hit, 5 people injured. No new details were released yesterday. We do expect a press conference today. The reward for Couch's arrest is at $35,000. Here's Tawana right now taking a look at the weather.
And what we're seeing right now, some upper level clouds showing up overhead on our satellite and radar, and it looks even cooler on our SkyTrack camera in New Albany as we're seeing this beautiful sunrise. So we are beginning the day with plenty of sunshine, and then those clouds will increase as the day goes along. What we're seeing right now, temperature-wise, upper 50s and low 60s. Once we get into the afternoon, we're talking mid to upper 80s for your highs, even as those clouds roll in. We'll also have to keep a very close eye on those rain chances going up, especially as we approach midnight and into early tomorrow morning. That Friday morning commute could be a slow one for many of us if those trends hold, and we'll keep rain chances around on and off all the way into your Sunday.
We're keeping an eye on this crash on 71 South at the Waterson. It looks like some emergency crews might be starting to clear out. There were multiple vehicles involved with this. Injuries reported too. Traffic is starting to move along the right-hand lane, and they're using the right-hand shoulder too. So you are able to get around that. But since this is where the Waterson ends and 71, they meet right there, there aren't too many options to go around it other than using Brownsboro Road. But if you're on 71 South, you'll have to take the Snyder to get to Brownsboro Road. But again, it looks like traffic is starting to at least ease up in that area and not causing a major backup yet, but it is 7 o'clock, so I'm sure that'll only get worse, but we'll continue to keep an eye on this. It looks like they've just opened one more lane, so that's definitely going to help in that area.
All right. Well, I guess a lot of people today will be talking about Travis.
They're talking about Taylor. They're talking about Taylor.
Calling out, saying everything he touches turns into magic and fun.
And now we're listening to Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes. All right, today's show's up next. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more, all for free with Wave Now. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and the Wave News app. Sponsored by Circle K. Fuel you can trust.